We have this idea that innovation is some kind of magic, right? Like a lightning strike of genius. But I'm here to tell you, that's just not true. Innovation is a process. It's a skill you can actually learn, a session you can facilitate. And that's what this is all about. This is your playbook for making it happen step by step.
So let me ask you something. Have you ever been in one of those brainstorming sessions? You know the ones I'm talking about. Everyone's excited for the first, 10 minutes, and then crickets. The energy just dies. You start hearing the same old tired ideas, and you can literally feel the momentum fizzle out. It's super common, but here's the good news. We can fix it.
Yeah, that's what I call the brainstorming rut. And it's so frustrating, isn't it? Because there are brilliant people in that room, but you just end up with this wall of sticky notes that leads absolutely nowhere. This is exactly why we need something more than just, let's throw ideas at the wall. We need a structured approach to really unlock that creativity.
Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we'll cover what SCAMPER is. Then we'll walk through how to set the stage for success. After that, we'll dive into how to actually run the session. And finally, the most important part, turning all those ideas into action.
So, what is this structured spark I keep talking about? Well, it's an amazing technique called SCAMPER. And here's why it's a game changer. Instead of asking your team for vague, new ideas, SCAMPER gives them a set of 7 specific lenses to look through. It literally forces you to break out of your usual thinking patterns.
The whole idea behind SCAMPER is actually pretty simple, but it's so powerful. It's based on the premise that pretty much every new idea is just a modification of something that's already out there. So you're not trying to pull genius ideas out of thin air. Instead, think of it like a checklist that guides you to look at a problem from 7 totally different and honestly pretty unexpected angles.
And here they are, the 7 lenses of SCAMPER. Each letter stands for a prompt, a specific kind of question that's designed to shake things up. Like, what can we substitute? Or how can we combine these two things? Or what if we adapt an idea from a totally different industry? It's what turns a chaotic, random brainstorm into a really focused, creative exercise.
Okay, let's talk about what I think is the most critical part of this whole playbook. A truly great SCAMPER session, it doesn't just happen by accident. Nope. The real magic is in the prep work. Honestly, if you get this part right, you've already won like 80% of the battle. Your prep really comes down to 3 main pillars. And trust me, if you mess up even one of these, the whole session can just fall flat. You need a super clear problem, you need the right mix of people, and you absolutely need the right ground rules. So let's break each of those down. First up, the problem. You have to define it with laser focus. Saying something like, let's improve our app is just way too vague. Nobody knows where to start. But what if you said, how can we enhance our user onboarding to reduce drop-off by 15%? See? Now that is a challenge your team can really dig into. Specificity is absolutely your best friend here.
Okay, next, you've got to assemble your innovation team. What you're really looking for is diversity of thought. That's because real innovation so often happens when different perspectives collide. So, pull in people from engineering, marketing, customer support. Heck, bring in an actual customer if you can. The sweet spot for group size is usually around 6 to 10 people. That's big enough to get a bunch of different ideas, but small enough that you can still move fast.
And that brings us to maybe the most important pillar of all, the ground rules. Listen, as the facilitator, your #1 job, above all else, is to create what we call psychological safety. Because it's so true, judging ideas too early absolutely murders creativity. The second someone shoots down an idea, you've basically sent a message to the entire room. Don't say anything weird, play it safe. And that's the last thing you want.
So, as the facilitator, you have to be the champion of these 4 core rules. They're non-negotiable. Rule 1, defer judgment. No critiques, no eye rolls, nothing. Rule 2, encourage wild ideas. The crazier, the better. That's where the breakthroughs are hiding. Rule 3, go for quantity, not quality. We want a ton of ideas. And finally, Rule 4, build on the ideas of others. Use phrases like yes and to keep the momentum going.
All right, deep breath. You've done all the prep, the team's here, the problem is crystal clear, the rules are on the wall. Now it's showtime. It's time to facilitate. Your job now is all about managing the energy in the room and guiding the process. So let me give you 3 of my favorite facilitation techniques. First, time box everything. I'm serious. Give the team maybe 5 to 10 minutes for each letter in SCAMPER. It creates urgency and keeps the energy up. Second, make sure everyone gets a voice. A simple round robin where you go around the room and each person shares one idea is perfect for stopping the loudest people from taking over. And third,
And this is a real pro tip. You have to actively manage the two different phases of creative thinking.
This is so important to understand. The creative process has two distinct modes. The first part of your session, the scamper part, is all about divergent thinking. That means you're going wide, you're generating as many ideas as possible, zero judgment allowed. It's only after all of that is done that you switch gears into convergent thinking. That's when you start to narrow things down, filter, and prioritize. A great facilitator knows how to keep these two modes completely separate. You never mix them.
Okay, so you've done it. You ran an awesome session and now you're swimming in amazing ideas. High fives all around, right? Well, hold on. The work is not done. In fact, the most important part is just beginning. Because let's be real, an idea session without a follow-up plan is just a fun meeting. The real value is in what you do next.
So what does that next step look like? It's a three-part process, and it does require some discipline. First, you've got to make sense of the chaos. You guide the team to group all those individual ideas into related themes. Then, you switch from generating ideas to evaluating them, so you can prioritize which ones are the most promising. And finally, you turn those top priorities into a clear, concrete action plan.
And one of my favorite tools for prioritizing is this, the impact versus effort matrix. It's super simple. You take your ideas and you map them on this grid. What you're looking for are those quick wins up in the top left corner. Those are the high-impact ideas that don't take a ton of effort. Start there. The major projects in the top right, those are your bigger, long-term bets.
Now, to figure out where to put things on that matrix, you can't just go with your gut. You need some objective criteria. Ask questions like, does this actually align with our business goals? Is this even technically possible? What's the budget and time commitment? When you answer these questions as a team, you move the decision away from, I like this idea, to a much more informed, strategic choice. And this is the final crucial step. Every single idea that you prioritize needs two things, an owner and a next step. And listen, the goal here isn't to walk out with a perfect final solution. The goal is to define the next experiment. Maybe that's building a quick prototype or setting up some user interviews. Whatever it is, you need to assign it to someone and give it a deadline. Accountability is everything.
So let's wrap this all up. This is your SCAMPER playbook. You bring the structure with those 7 prompts. You prepare like a pro with a clear problem, the right team, and solid rules. You facilitate the session to protect that creative energy. And you always drive towards action. This right here is how you stop just talking about innovation and actually start making it happen.
Okay, so now the ball is in your court. Think about it. Your work, your products, your team's processes. With this playbook in your back pocket, what's the very first thing you're going to transform? Where are you going to spark your next big idea?